This sort of gives you a bit of a taste of the landscape that we're in today. Bright blue skies, and yeah, really looking forward to this particular drive. Well, I think we should take to the road. So the road we're on is the A606, which takes us from the A1 moving west towards Rutland Water and the little market town of Oakham. And I joke about hills when we've done previous videos in Suffolk, but Rutland has something that really does approach sort of real hills. So this is May Day bank holiday, and the A606 is not too busy, which is nice. The A1, which I didn't film, sort of leaving Suffolk and coming past Cambridge and Huntingdon and then up past Peterborough, was not overly busy, but there were a lot of motorists, and I use the word motorists as a distinction from drivers, in the sense that there are a lot of people behind the wheel that probably oughtn't to be behind the wheel, and it always amazes me that there are still people out there driving who don't understand the differences between lanes 1, 2 and 3, and we've got our usual share of centre lane hoggers, but with that came the lane 1 undertakers. And it is extraordinary, because when you're driving a car like this, obviously you have to think further ahead in terms of braking distances, and every time you try to leave a gap between you and the car in front. There's always some comedian who wants to sort of slot into that gap, so you fall back again, open the gap up to keep a safe distance, and then somebody else will come and slot right in there. And the other trick they like to play is to suddenly pull out in front of you. So you'll be in lane 2, for example. Someone in lane 1 will just suddenly get bored of being in lane 1, decide they're going into lane 2. They pull out. Once they've pulled out, then they signal that they meant to pull out. They look in their rear view mirror, see that actually you're a little bit closer than they thought you were going to be, panic, and then move straight back into lane 1 with their indicator still on the wrong way round. So it's been a morning of that sort of behaviour. And I won't name the makes of car or even the colour that predominates these sort of manoeuvres, but suffice to say I've become quite expert at spotting a motorist of that calibre just by looking at their car in terms of the model, make and the colour. So bank holiday Monday, May Day, was obviously a chance for those people to sort of take to the road and terrorise the rest of us. I think the other thing which I noticed is that, and I think this may explain why people suddenly will pull out from lane 1 into lane 2 if you're there, particularly when I'm driving this car or the other Vitesse. And that is because I don't think they expect you to be doing the speed that you're doing. They, I'll cruise at 70 on the dual carriageway quite happily, but maybe they just see an old car in the rear view mirror and assume it's not going to catch up with them. But it's one of the things I think most of us who drive classic cars learn very quickly, and that is how to drive defensively. Of course, you also get the other people that might be, in a German car, let us say, an Audi or a BMW. Doesn't seem to happen with Mercedes drivers, interestingly, but BMWs and Audis, and I would say mostly Audis, they take it as a huge insult if you happen to go past them driving something that is more than 50 years old. That's almost like a sort of the throw of a gauntlet. At that moment, a sort of red mist descends, and they feel the need to sort of, pursue you and overtake you, and then sort of cut in. Of course, for a lot of the people driving Audis, it becomes even more of a challenge because there are no indicators on those cars. At least if there are, I never see them working. So, yeah, interesting one. For those of you who are keen gardeners and of a certain vintage, you might remember the Gardener's World host Jeff Hamilton from the 1990s. Well, Jeff's sadly no longer with us, but his gardens remain, and they're just off to my right there. And these are definitely worth a visit, actually. my wife is a very keen gardener. I tend to do what I'm told, but much of our gardening inspiration when we were young came from Jeff Hamilton. To my left we've got Rutland Water, and just sort of looking across, I'm sorry if it's out of shot for you, but normally at this time of year you see quite a few boats on the water and people sailing, but I notice there's no one there, so I'm guessing it's a little bit chilly today for that. Anyway, one of the things that I like about the A606 is the fact that it is a nice fast road and perfectly suited for these sort of cars. This particular bit's also quite nice because there are a lot of people who cycle, but there are cycle paths, and even if they're on the road is wide enough to allow you to safely overtake. So what I'm going to do this morning is actually go through the town centre, because it is a pretty town, and it's somewhere where I often sort of stop if I want something to eat or grab a drink. So I have to come to Nottingham fairly frequently, and the quickest way is probably from Suffolk to take the A14 and pick up the M1 south of Leicester, and then simply race up the M1 to Nottingham. But the alternative quick route for me is the A14A1, and that allows me to sort of come off the A1 either to take the A606 as we've done today, or you can go further north and come off at Grantham and then pick up the A52, and that's equally a nice route, but it doesn't allow you to enjoy the sort of charms that little towns like Oakham have to offer. If I want a leisurely journey, then the route I tend to take is to go via Norfolk, so head up to King's Lynn and then across the sort of top of Lincolnshire, so just below the Wash, and that takes me sort of up towards Boston before I then cut across across west to Grantham and pick up the A52 there. But Oakham has a very special place in my heart. I think it is enchanting, and it always seems to be a thriving working town. Lots of independent little businesses here, and busy without being congested. Started this journey, I did think we were going to have brilliant sunshine, and obviously I put the top down anticipating that very thing, but looking up at the clouds, I fear a repeat of Drive It Day. And if you saw my last video on that in this car, you'll know that it rained, and I was a bit too stubborn to stop and put the roof up, so we got a bit wet. A few spots of rain. May Day bank holiday in England. I think we should have anticipated it. Now in Leicestershire, and they've spoiled our fun a little bit, because the speed limit immediately as you cross the county line drops from the national speed limit of 60 to 50, and I think you can see why. this is a really popular route with motorcyclists, and they've had to put double lines down the road to try to sort of keep it safe for everyone. And dropping this speed limit to 50 is obviously part of that. Wow, that's quite a view. Yeah, I never get tired of driving this road. I think Bess would like to go a bit faster, but well, it looks like Leicestershire is going to be kind to us. The rain seems to have stopped at the border. Village of Burton Lazars, and there's another little hilly village. So we're looking ahead towards Melton Mowbray, and it's also a very nice market town. it's not. Well, this is another favourite part of a route for me, and as you'll see in a little while, we've got an amazing hill to negotiate ahead of us, and it's not this one. In the village of Abketley. It's a village with an interesting name, and I'd love to know what the origins of that are. So if anyone knows why Ab, as in AB Alpha Bravo Ketley, I'd love to know. Yeah, so the hill that we're about to negotiate, I'm sorry to say, we're going down it, not up it, because it's much more fun going up it. But it's one of those hills that makes people nervous, and in Suffolk we don't ever see signs saying 11% low gear now. So with that in mind, we're out of overdrive down into 4th, and we've got an advisory speed limit of 30. We're into 3rd for this one, and I am on the brakes. We tuck in. I suspect there are people in places like Yorkshire at the moment having a good laugh saying that's not a hill. But for people like me from Suffolk, it'll do. Gear all the way up. Well, I hope you enjoyed this slightly different trip out today. I'm sorry it wasn't a bit sunnier or brighter, but I've certainly enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me in my next video. See you soon.